So, yo, Bam, quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen, you know of Squid Games, right?
Yeah, Squid Game.
Did- were you a fan of that show?
Yeah, I was a big fan of it. I was a big fan of it. I think like most people in the world at that time, like how Squid Game just blew up was kind of. I didn't really expect Squid Game to be a show that really blew up like that. Because Squid Game wasn't the first show I watched in that kind of genre. Um, so it was weird when I found that like Squid Game like blew up globally for so many things. But Squid Game ultimately was a really good show. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I mean, I think because it came out in like 2020, right?
Yeah, yeah. Was it right? Yeah, some 2021 maybe. Yeah.
So a lot of people were down bad, definitely financially back then. So I mean, I could see why it would blow up like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
But there was a show that was always like, when I first heard about Squid Game, and like when it became more popular, people be like, "But you need to hear about this show that's better than Squid Game." I'm like, what show is that?
Yeah.
And they're referring to Alice in Borderland. Do you think Squid Game, or which one do you think is better, Squid Game or Alice in Borderland, or can you even compare the two?
Oh, you definitely can compare the two. They fall definitely in the same genre. Even though, like culturally, like in terms of aesthetics wise, you can compare the two, right? Because they're both Korean shows.
Yeah.
But even from a story perspective, it's the basic premise of both is like you put characters in an environment where they have to play these games, and it's life or death games, right? I think ultimately for me, I enjoy Alice in Borderland a lot more than Squid Game. I do think Squid Game is more grounded, has more grounded. It has a premise that's easier for people to jump into and accept. Is like, what would you do if you're down bad financially, and then someone just said, "Hey, you can win like, what was it, 400?" Like,
yeah,
like a lot of money.
40,000 or like in whatever currency that is.
Yeah.
So I think it was like a couple million, or
Yeah, it was like a lot, like enough money to handle all your problems and issues and make you live a good life, right? So what would you do if you're really that down bad and you enter the game and then you realize like, oh snap, this is not just a game. People are really getting bodied out here. Would you come back? What do you say with it? Like, I liked how it dived into the psychology, but I think Alice in Borderland just did a more theatrical, a better theatrical job, where it just showed a lot more. It was a lot more anime. A fun fact: Alice in Borderland is actually based off of a manga, so that's why you'll have that kind of that anime-esque stuff going on in it, especially in season 2, in my opinion. Yeah, but I enjoyed Alice in Borderland better. I think it had a more deep message for me. Ultimately, I feel like they were more aware of what they were trying to do, while Squid Game was a lot more simple in comparison. Now, we don't know, season 2 may come out for Squid Game and it might be even bigger than we thought it was. But the end of season 1 for Squid Game was basically like, yeah, a bunch of super wealthy rich dudes got bored and it said, let's take advantage of these poor people and put them through these life or death games and see what happens, right?
okay. Which series do you think you would survive longer in and or win?
Oh my god!
Yeah, I'm coming out with the haymakers.
Yo, honestly, oh my goodness, bro. Short term. No. Actually, I think I would. I think this goes for everybody. I think everyone would have a better chance surviving in Alice in Borderland than in Squid Game.
Why do you say that?
Because the ending of both series, the ending of season 1 of Squid Game and the ending of Alice in Borderland, shows you what was the purpose, right, of these games, right? So spoiler alert for anyone that hasn't watched Squid Game, or spoiler alert for anyone that hasn't watched Alice in Borderland. Is alluded to that at the end of Alice in Borderland, that it's a purgatory, right? These games is a area between life and death where where you have to go through this process of, it's more of like a character thing, where it's like you have to go through this process of determining, do you really want to live and survive, and like, can you come back into life? So there's almost an essence is less about the games and it's more on you as an individual. That's kind of like the energy I'm kind of getting, and it's more about your will to survive and your will to do what you have to do to get there, and it's testing yourself as a person, like, what do you really want out of life? While Squid Games is a bunch of billionaires that want to see you die anyways. So to me, both situations are like, yo, the chance of you living is low, but there's a little bit of a higher chance of you living in Alice in Borderland, because it does seem to be more about you. The games are more built on, like, all the games that's presented seem to be games that people are more or less aware of and have an idea of how to go through. Short-term wise, I think you might have an easier time winning the first couple of games in Squid Game, just because from a viewership perspective, you don't want to lose like your main cast. I'm thinking from the perspective of the billionaires, right? But in Alice in Borderland, the short-term perspective is like, once you get through the first 3 games and you start talking with other survivors, you'd be like, okay, the hearts games, I'm avoiding those. Okay, spades games, cool. Like spades games, I'm like, okay, if I'm a physical athlete kind of person, I'm sticking with the spades games. I'm gonna let you all else handle the other games. Okay, if I'm a super intellectual person, the diamond games, I'll focus on the diamond games. But the heart games, I'm avoiding that to the T. Like, I'm never touching the heart games, bro. Never. Like, those just seem like you just walking out, assed out all the time, man.
Fair. So you would say, I mean, I thought you would point to who survived at the end of each season. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because at the end of season 1 of Squid Game, there was
one person. Yeah. But, like, look how many survivors survived at the end of Alice in Borderland. You know, it's like, basically our main cast survived. You know? Yeah.
I will say, like Squid Game, there was hide and seek. That was the first game, right?
No,
well, not hide and seek. Red light, green light.
Yeah, red light, green light. Mm-hmm.
That I feel like I feel like I would have made that one.
That was easy. Like, once you saw the first person body, you're like, okay, I understand how this works.
I give me a couple of rounds of trauma where I'd be like, oh crap. You know what I'm saying? But then I think hopefully I'll be able to get out of that one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The marble game, that was the most messed up game. The marble one, bruh.
What was that one again?
That was the one where you had to partner up with somebody and you had to do the whole marbles, and whoever had the most marbles at the end of the game, or who had all the marbles, would just live. That was your reward with living.
That was no. Or even the shapes.
Oh, the cutting out the shapes game.
Yeah, that was rough. I got packed up. I got packed up.
Yo,
it's over. It's over.
I just love the characterization in it too. The level of just like the guy being like, I think I know what this game is about, so I'm gonna stand here, make sure I stand here. Nah, you stand over there. You got it. Yeah, stand by the star. What? Stand by the star. Yo, it's crazy. Man. That's petty.
It'd be your own people.
Yo, he was really looking out for number one this whole time, bro.
But it's just 6 games. I know I don't want to say just 6 games, but in Squid Games, it's like just 6 games. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Alice in Borderland?
Yeah, it's a lot of games.
That's a lot of games. It's like 52 games. Or like 54. I think 52, right?
Yeah, but there's a lot more players. And you don't have to play the same game. So in Squid Game, there are 6 games, but think about it as a person getting into it. You don't know there's 6 games.
Yeah.
You don't know how these games are structured, right? But like once you get into Alice in Borderland, and there's also a weird time dilation thing where some people get there earlier than other people. So if you're social enough, you could interact and talk with people and kind of get an idea of how this stuff works. And then you could be like, okay, oh, this person told me like, oh, and the game with this symbol is basically like physical teamwork. Give me the clubs games, give me the spades games. Those gonna be the ones I focus mostly on, yo. Those be the ones I focus mostly on. And I like the fact that you don't have to do every game.
Fair. They baked in like a day break couple things for you.
Yeah. And it's like other people, like you being like, ah man, we got to take down that queen of clubs, bro. Oh snap! It looks like someone did that already. Turn up. We don't have to do that.
Fair, but you gotta get through all 40 cards first before you start seeing.
Yeah, before you get to season 2. Yeah, but you don't have to. You don't have to get through. You could easily get through like maybe 3 or 4, and other people are like playing the game and getting through it. You know? I'm not saying you don't. Like, there's a certain level of tactics that you can implement in Alice in Borderland. While I feel like there's a lot less options available to you in Squid Game.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, they say these are the 6 games.
Yeah.
You're playing them.
Yeah.
Or you drop out, I guess. You get like one chance to drop out?
Yeah. No, you had a majority rule to drop out.
Okay.
Yeah. So everyone took the majority rule decision after the first game because they were like the shock. Like, basically half of them died there. You know? Now here's a question. If you were in a down bad situation, right? After the first game and everyone left, would you be part of the group coming back?
It depends on how bad my life is.
Yeah. Because I'm like,
if it's just can't pay minimum wage and like I can't eat out, I probably won't go back.
I think most people that got into it, and this is part of the messed up part from the people that initiate the game, is like they're really targeting people that are down bad because they want them to come back.
Yeah,
they didn't pay billions of dollars to set up this game environment for them to not come back. So they're going for the people that's like 100K in debt and like have mafia bosses or yakuza after them or whatever the case may be. So
5 baby mamas,
child support everywhere. You know, it's like they're going for the people that like have no choice. Like, I think even the title of episode 2 for Squid Game, I might be getting it wrong, but it's like almost like Returning Back to Hell is the name of title 2, and it's just them basically going back to their lives they were living before the game. And it's like, oh yeah, is it really better? Like, are they going back into a situation that's really good? It's like, no, you know.
I hear you, and like I heard that sentiment in Alice in Borderland when the main chick, she was like I'm not sure if I really want to go back. Are you sure it's even better? I'm like, wait, okay, there's a king of spades actively chasing you with the AK, the grenades. You saying I don't know if that's better? That's crazy to me.
Yeah, that guy was literally the Terminator, man. Like, he was not going down. Like,
I feel like he was the coolest and weakest thing about the show. About season 2.
Okay, coolest and
because I feel like the end fight with like 6 of them try to take him out and he just bodies all of them.
Yeah,
cool. Him teleporting to different locations on the battlefield. Like, how did he get in the car? How did he get on the roof of a car? You know what I'm saying? How did he track them down? That part, like, if he's supposed to be human, I'm like, how's he doing all this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the weird thing about Alice in Borderland that I feel like just adds a layer of mystery and intrigue about it. Is like the whole idea of the residents, like the people that become the citizens of Alice in Borderland. Is like, so it's basically confirmed that every citizen of Alice in Borderland went through all the games already before, and then the world gave them an option. Hey, do you want to return back to your world? Which is basically, I'm assuming they had a life or death situation that happened to them, and they chose, they're like, nah, I'm going to stay here. So I'm assuming their bodies already died. So they chose to stay in this purgatory area on the edge of life and death, but they can't return back to life because they gave up that option. So it's literally, they're just there until they lose a game.
I wonder, because there's a time dilation type thing. So maybe for them, they are still in that minute long.
That could be a thing too, yeah.
Heart stop.
But it's like, but they still won't get, based on how the game, the system is structured in season 2, they don't get the option, right? It's like, the option to return back to life or the option to stay as a citizen only comes when you beat all of the face cards. And the people that are citizens are either working for the face cards or they are the face card.
Yeah, maybe it's the case that if they wipe out all the people who are playing the game, then the face cards have to decide one more time: do they want to stay here?
Oh yeah, that could be a thing. Yeah, that could be a thing.
Because that's the only reason why I see the King of Spades just taking out everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah, maybe that's his option. But it always seems like all the characters in Alice in Borderland, once they become citizens, have locked in some weirder view of life. And it's made them like just basically have absolute resolve in whatever decision they're making, you know?
Fair.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I want to talk about some of the easiest things or easiest games we could have won in Alice in Borderland.
Okay, yeah.
I think one of them was the Queen of Clubs. You know, when you're running and you get the blue thing on your back?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what was the strategy for that game?
Everybody just saying, freak the queen. Literally, that's right. Everyone just say like, yo, freak it.
You could do that, or just all huddle in a corner, backs to each other, and they can't touch your back. You know, like the Spartans make the phalanx?
Yeah.
Just do that.
Yeah, and like if they did that all in the beginning, there was only 4 people coming at them.
Yeah.
So by the time any one of them comes, you could just swarm around that one, slap that one. Yeah.
I didn't even think that far, but yes, I thought that was the easiest game to play.
Yeah, true. I tell you, man, clubs games are the best. Clubs games are like the best. The Queen of Hearts games, I'm not touching that. Because you're literally walking in there, betraying whoever you walked in there with. That's an interesting game.
You think? I guess if you went in there solo, she'd just mentally break you.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's like each game kind of like tests some kind of concept about survival. Like the whole idea of the clubs games to me was you need other people to survive. Like you can't live life without other people. It makes sense. Us as people, we've done that for extent of human history, right? The Hearts games to me challenges the whole idea. I'll say the Hearts games for last. The Diamond game is like you need intellect to survive. You need to be able to rationalize and problem solve situations and look ahead. Makes sense, right? Spades games, right? Physical fitness. Yes, you need your body to be able to move through space, and sometimes you're going to be in a scenario where something fast is coming at you, and your ability to react to that and move out the way will be helpful to you, right? Makes sense. All of that goes in line with the whole idea of your expression of survival. I think a human being's expression of trying to live can be expressing those things. The Queen of Hearts games applies to that same concept of expression of survival, but almost to the darkest part of a human being, where it's like sometimes you're going to have to change who you believe you are in order to do it. But like what I like about the last game in the Hearts game was the whole idea of like fighting against that. But all the other Hearts games is like, no, you have to sacrifice the people you care about. Like the people that you're like, yo, we worked together these other games before, like we're a team now, we survive together, we hang out when we have our passes, and we survived. Yeah, these are my brothers and sisters, we're surviving together, life or death situation. And then you get to a Hearts game and it's like, oh, only one of us can survive? Who that going to be? Who deserves it?
And Shorty put them in a genjutsu. That was crazy.
Yeah.
That was crazy. I don't know, man. I feel like the spades might. Even the bus one. Remember the bus one?
Yes. Was that? I don't know what game was that? Because at that time I didn't really register what the suits meant.
Yes.
It was only until we got to season 2 where they started breaking it down. I was like, oh, that makes sense now.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it was, but let's say it was a spade one. It's either spade or intellect one. You know what I'm saying? You gotta run all the way down there, Well, you don't have to run all the way down. You gotta stay in the bus. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That I feel like I probably got tricked. I probably got tricked.
Heard you. That probably was a intellect one. If we look back at it, it probably was an intellect one because the way you solved it was literally like sit in the bus. There's no physical activity that had to be like you can. That's also another thing, right? That show is kind of exploring. It's the whole idea that like the more optimal way of doing it would be the club's approach, teamwork. The more optimal way will be betraying someone you care about. The more optimal way will be intellect or athleticism. But if I guess your will is capable enough, if you've added enough skill points into a particular attribute of focus, you could beat the game. You know, kind of like I don't know if you did you watch the movie Glass Onion? Okay, so you know like how they have that box and it has all those things you have to use your mental intellect for, and at the end of the day, she just took a hammer and smashed through the box. That's kind of like if you're a super smart person, you could get through the box. But also, if you have enough strength to break the box, you could get through the box too and get the same result.
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah. I do want to kind of talk a little bit about that Genjutsu on the final episode. You know, because I found it a little meta because she's running through all of these different potential reasons for why they're there. And I remember watching it and being like, the way they did it was perfect because it got me a couple times. Like when they're talking about like, oh, they're in that augmented reality zone and they showed literally video representation of them in it. I was like, is this it? And she was like, just kidding. I was like, what? And then you talk about aliens and I'm like, is this it? Just kidding. What? You know, I was like, whoa. What that made me think about as I was watching the episode is like, wait, is this the creator saying the ending doesn't matter? Or the reasoning behind why they're there doesn't matter? Like what immediately came to mind to me is like Oda and the One Piece. Does the One Piece really matter? Or does the 20 years of reading 1,000 chapters and watching the anime matter?
You mean 5,000? It's gonna be at least 5.
Yeah, it's gonna be. But you know, like the 20 plus years of commitment that us One Piece fans have put into the series and enjoyed the laughs and the conversation we had, isn't that more important than whatever the One Piece is?
That's what you're saying. Yeah, I think I definitely got caught all 3 times.
Yeah.
I was like, it's aliens. It has to be aliens. No. Yeah, you're right. It's not aliens. It's augmented reality. Yep, it's definitely augmented reality. Yep, it's definitely, you know, you're rich and you're putting yourself through this because you're out of emotions.
Yeah.
That was good. I feel like maybe they like, I mean, it's based off a manga, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So maybe, I mean, this is probably already scripted already. But I like to think maybe they looked at all the like spoilers and theory videos of what the top theory ones, and they're like, let's just animate this and see what happens. Yeah,
it's the part where they animated when they like literally got the actors to be in those scenes and everything. That's what really messed me up. Being like, damn. Even when we got to the final illusion, which is like they're in the mental institution, I was folded the whole time, bruh.
You and me both. I said, man, he really is crazy. I'll make me go crazy too.
It was so plausible. So plausible. I was like, what?
100% agree. I was like, yeah, because he ran across the street and then looked both ways, so he had to have got hit, or his friends had to have got hit. That would make him go crazy. That was the bang. That was beautiful.
Yeah. Wow, man. Wow.
I was like, wait, but so she crazy too? His chick?
Yeah.
And then she actually cut herself. I'm like, oh wow, she's really crazy.
Which is crazy, right? It's like, but like, and here's the thing: the creators of that episode or the whole series, they know they're good because they know the only way that the regular person is going to realize that this is actually a trick is if the character, the queen herself, alludes to it being a trick. Like when she broke in there and cut herself, and then she just slowly stands up. I'm like, if this was a real hospital, you'd be calling, "Hey, help! Someone cut it here! Someone help wrap this up!" Like, this is not a real hospital. I was like, okay, this is a trick. Where
She was dumb mean to her. She was like, "Leave." I'm talking to him. I was like, "Yo, gosh, why you gotta?" You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, because I feel like, at the end of the day, the game wasn't about. She was in the game, and she definitely played a major piece. Because without her, Arisu would have been folded. Like, it was over for Arisu. But since she couldn't play, she was mainly hard focusing on Arisu. So she didn't spend too much time trying to convince her that they're in the illusion. But like Arisu, because he's the only one that's playing.
So I wonder, how long the Queen of Hearts was the Queen of Hearts for?
Well, if we look at it, the Queen of Hearts looks like she was the Queen of Hearts around the same time as the accountant guy. No, the lawyer guy. Yeah, so that's a good question. That is a good question. Like, when did I don't know. It's like the whole timeline thing. It's kind of one of those things that's like, the series is saying, I think the series does a really lot, like, subtly says, don't care about stuff that doesn't matter. Like, how long she was, like, it's an interesting question, like, how long she was the Queen of Hearts, but the show makes an effort to say time doesn't matter at all. Like, it's about what's happening right now in the present. And it's almost like it's saying, like, hey, take what this lesson feels like and take it into life. You know, like being like, hey, does it really matter? Does this stuff really matter? Does that really matter? Like, what really matters? Like, the moment, the day, right? It's like, you don't know when your last day is going to come. Maybe I'm getting too real with it, but it's a whole idea of like, what really matters.
That is a beautiful speech. I want to acknowledge the beautiful speech Bambus gave. But I'm also thinking, what about the elephants? Why were those elephants there?
wait, elephants.
There's elephants in like the path when Arisu and
yeah. True. Yeah, when they were in that
the hot spring.
In a hot spring that was not a hot spring.
Yeah.
Yo.
That's a beautiful speech. And I agree with everything Bambus said. But the elephants though, no.
The show is just like so. It's so, and that's the part, the anime part about it. That's the anime part about it, because it's like, where does elephants come from? You know,
I saw a comment. They're like, are the animals playing games too? Do they get cards or?
Did all those elephants get into an earthquake and all die together, or like, are they trying to fight to live too? Like, yeah, man. See, the amount of time, like, I could talk about Alice in Borderland because there's so much hidden stuff in it.
Yeah.
The Squid Game, in comparison, like,
it's pretty straightforward.
You know?
You're right.
That's why I was wondering, like, because Alice in Borderland Season 1 came out before Squid Game.
How much before? A year, 3 years, or we think?
I'm trying to remember, but I remember watching it a couple months before Squid Game came out. So I don't know if it was out way before that, but I just remember watching it a couple months before Squid Game and being like, oh, it reminds me of Alice in Borderland. And I watched it and I was like, it's a good series. I enjoy it. It's my thing. I like it.
Yeah.
I didn't think like we would get like this whole cultural phenomenon where everyone's into it, and then Mr. Beast makes a whole video about it, which was such a banger of a video. Like, the amount of time investment and people and money he put into it is just like such a banger. Yeah, but Alice in Borderland, I don't even think Mr. Beast could replicate Alice in Borderland, to be honest with you. It's a little crazy.
I plays with Nerf guns,
paintball guns. Paintball. Some of the hide and seek game, you could definitely replicate it. rent out a building. Yeah, some games you can replicate. Actually, most games you could replicate, but it'll just take a lot of money to do it.
Fair. Especially if you're trying to make a whole... He can't just do one Alice in Borderland game. He has to do at least like 4 or 5.
Yeah. But yeah, what was your... So let's finish off our combo with, what was your favorite character? Or which characters you connect with the most in Alice in Borderland?
I ain't gonna hold you. I probably wouldn't do this. Guy in like the King of Clubs game.
Oh yeah,
who like cool. Destroyed his hand for his team. He a real one.
Yeah.
I like Arisu because Arisu was petty. He was like, "Yo, I want to shake your hand." The guy who's gonna... I'm in King of Clubs. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Don't don't do that.
I love the King of Clubs too, man. I just loved how like just free and just like accepting he was of stuff, and yeah, even to like the whole conversation Arisu and him kind of had. It was almost like him alluding to Arisu saying, "Hey, you got to find your own reason.
Yeah,
you got to find your own reason for stuff. I could tell you what I think it is, but that might not click with you. So you got to find your own reason." Yeah, but like, yo, I love how they did that because I was like, yeah, I know for this, like, I know we got a couple more episodes to go. Like, how are we going to do this? Like, I was expecting someone else to come out of nowhere to run for the pole and do some anime level stuff, but yo, this was on some light from Death Note kind of activity, man. Like the way he's like, "Nani? What?" Yo,
that wouldn't have been my choice. I would have got the guy who tried to assault. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would have done.
If we're gonna cut off someone's hand, it was gonna be him. To me.
Just saying.
Yeah.
But one more thing I want to talk about. Shishiya, the guy with the white hair.
Oh yeah.
I didn't like him. He just seemed too cool.
Him?
He was just too cool. He was too cool.
You know what's funny? When I was watching him, I felt like I would think about it. There were some times when I was watching him, and I'd be like, "Yo, this is low-key how Dr. Griffs would probably play the game." I feel like you would focus a lot more on the diamond games, in particular. Like, what games would you think you would personally focus on?
Probably team based.
The team based makes sense.
I'm assuming I'm in my peak self. You know what I'm saying? And maybe some athletic games. Okay. But the Shishiya, right? When he was in, I don't know how I feel about you saying he reminded me of you. I don't know how I feel about that.
Not the like Chichiya never felt like an asshole to me. Well, season 1, he made some asshole decisions, but it was all for the purpose. He integrated into the world he was in.
Fair.
Season 2, he started getting expanded. He started expanding in terms of like, oh, what is possible, how you can exist in this world and be. And then we kind of see Chichiya have that conversation with the lawyer. I think the Jack of Diamonds, right? And him kind of getting that realization, like, oh, it's like in life, we don't choose how we live or die. We don't choose when we die, but we can choose how we live. And so we can choose how we live based on what principles he is. And you kind of see that reflected in the King of Clubs too, where the King of Clubs is like, I divided my points equally because that's how I want to do it. Not because I think that's the most optimal way to beat this game, but this is just the way that resonates most with me as a person. Because even if you play the most optimal way, you can still lose. You can still get folded. You can still die. So if you're going to die anyway, might as well live the life that fits your ideals the best. And I think Chichiya was trying to understand the whole point of the world they were in.
2 points. His backstory is actually really good. I like.
Yeah.
That's actually very solid. And the game he played with the King of Diamonds, that was impossible. I would have lost that game. Acid, my God,
bro. That's why I told you I'm avoiding diamond games, bro, and I'm avoiding hard games Because that looked like, I don't know how the math was working, bro. I don't know how the math was working.
There was geniuses in that thing, and they didn't even know. They were the first to go. It's over. It's over. It's over.
The two smartest people, other than Chichia, died first.
And those are like, they got calculators in their head.
Yeah.
Chichia, he's a strategist, knows how to read people. That's his genius. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
He's more of a people smart person. Like he has good assumptions about people.
Yeah, but he doesn't really know how to interact with people, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. When I was looking at Chichia and like how he would navigate, there's a part of me that thinks like, yeah, you would kind of go a similar route that way. But more friendly. You'll go a similar route, but more friendly.
Thank you, I guess. Thank you.
Yo.
Who do you resonate most with?
The King of Clubs. The King of Clubs for sure. Really dope. I like the King of Clubs a lot. Arisu. I liked his journey of trying to find like reasons for living.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And you know, it was less about, because you can see within the series, especially with the main characters or the main side characters, there's a lot of even for the ones that were like going to die, there was a lot of like, at least let me make the attempt to resolve, like have a resolution, like resolve like some trauma that I had in my past, so that way if I die, I can die with a clear mind and move on, right? But yeah, I like Arisu's progression. What was the name of the female character that he was always with?
I'm sorry, y'all. She's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, she's top tier.
I look it up.
Oh, and also there's a lot of great characters, man. I loved every scene with Chichia on. I loved it. I just loved like literally seeing like a version. It literally looked like Light Yagami trying to figure out all this stuff, man. You know, You know what Chichia reminded me of? He reminded me of a more socially aware L.
See that? Isagi is her name, I believe.
Yeah, Isagi was a great character. Yeah, Isagi was a great character. But my favorite character was the King of Clubs. Like, he did a great job within an episode or two of just... I was really intrigued by him. Really intrigued.
He was really mellow. He should wear some sandals at least, though. Because he's running on concrete. To be honest with you, that's
I was like, bro, your feet not a little bloody, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're like sprinting around the place, your pinky toe rubbing against.
Yeah, but go off, I guess.
Go off, be free. But yeah, man, that's I feel like we've come to the end of our convo, man. Any finishing thoughts you kind of have about Alice in Borderland?
I don't know if I want a season 3. I don't know.
I don't need it. I don't need it. Like,
I'd probably watch it.
Yeah. Something tells me if they do come out with a season 3, they either have to be like just masters in the kitchen with it. Because season 2, the ending of it just was like perfect. I could rewatch Alice in Borderland maybe a couple months from now and maybe pull a few more things that's about like life lessons I could take with me, or leave it up to interpretations for myself. Maybe that's the whole point of the series, is like interpret your reason from it that feels good for you, that allows you to live life the best way you can. Maybe that's the whole point of the series. But yeah, season 3 with the illusion of the Joker card at the end, I was like, yeah, we don't need it.
Perfect ending though, because it gives them an in or out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. This is my finishing thought, right? The last episode was so good, because another thing that came up for me is that, like I was mentioning before, I think the whole point of the last episode is the idea that like the reason for why these are happening doesn't really matter, right? Doesn't really matter. Like the whole origin story of this doesn't matter to the real experience we're experiencing, right? But there is that feeling as a viewer, you want it to matter. You want something that makes sense for why they're there. But then, you know, I feel like as YouTubers, right? As a YouTuber, you kind of have a little sneak peek in terms of what it is like to be a producer of content, right? So you're creating content for other people to watch, but you're focusing on the back end elements of it, right? You're focusing on the editing, you're focusing on the shots, you're focusing on the title and the thumbnail to get people to watch it, right? And I started thinking about this, saying like, wait a minute. The ending, the reason for this doesn't matter, because ultimately the reason for why I'm watching this series doesn't matter. You know, it's like a meta thing. Is like, does the fact that they were living in an AI world take away the fact that I enjoyed 2 seasons of this? Does the fact that like there were aliens, does it take effect of all the lessons I've learned from watching these 2 seasons? I was like, is this the creators talking directly to the audience, saying like, I know you want to figure out this mystery, but do you really care about that? We're here. You've been enjoying it for 2 seasons, right? You've connected with all these characters. Does the reason for why you connect with all these characters matter? And I was like, whoa, kind of wild, right? Kind of wild.
All right, yeah, that's heavy.
Yeah,
that's heavy. I'm gonna leave y'all with something that's a little heavier that Bam kind of said earlier. You can't control how you leave, but you can control how you live. That was heavy. Bam, shout out to you for saying that earlier.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. All right, guys. So that's it for this video. A little bit longer than what we usually try to aim for, but we hope you appreciated it. If you like this conversation, you know, hit that like button. If you want to engage in the conversation, comment down below. And if you want to subscribe to see more conversations just like this, hit that subscribe button. And of course, in the description box below, you'll see links to both me and Dr. Griff's other channels that we create our own content on. So if you want to see more engagement for other stuff we talk about, boom. Yo, Dr. Griffs, you wanna plug your new channel that you recently came up with?
Not yet.
All right.
Yeah. So.
It's in the cooking. It's in the cooking, guys. It's in the kitchen. All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.